Relations between Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and U.S. President Donald Trump deteriorated rapidly Wednesday as Zelensky said Trump was living in a Russian-made, quote, disinformation space, and Trump called Zelensky, quote, a dictator without elections. Joining us now from the University of Manitoba Center for Ukrainian-Canadian Studies is Professor Orest Cap. Good morning, Orest.
Good morning, Rachel.
Thanks for joining us. Now, this language that's coming out from these two leaders, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm not surprised with regards to what is happening and the language that, in fact, Trump is using. This is the first president in history to change basically sides right in the middle of a war and give up all the allies in Ukraine, just basically a sellout right in the middle of the Russian-Ukrainian war, rather than supporting the allies in Ukraine.
And at this point, talks are occurring with Russia without the presence of any Ukrainian representation or anyone from the EU. What's your general feeling regarding that?
This is basically an indication, sort of a first-hand betrayal of Ukraine. Ukraine, the country that has been affected and that is in a state of life and death, is not even sitting at the negotiation table. My perspective is we're just witnessing pure moral bankruptcy, not negotiation.
At this point, how are members of the Ukrainian community here feeling at this point?
Well, the community is shocked. And I think not just the community, but even in Ukraine, they're shocked with the stand of the Trump administration. Especially, we're seeing a newly elected, I would call, would-be dictator, a global extortionist, and even a convicted felon that we don't have to forget, and that is using Putin as a role model in these critical times or challenging times.
So how are you talking to people about this? How are you trying to ease some of their fears?
Well, we have to stand with Ukraine. We have no choice in these difficult times. We have to turn to our global institutions, our governments, which were meant to prevent. They were established basically to prevent such aggression. As you could see, it's not working completely, but we're learning, I guess. We're in a situation where democracy has been taken for granted, and our democratic values are at stake. Authoritarianism is coming back. And I think when we talk with our community and interact, we need to reaffirm basically a commitment to the principles of sovereignty and especially territorial integrity.
Now, it has been suggested by Donald Trump and his team that an election needs to happen in Ukraine. What's your concern with that?
It's a major concern. I think he's meddling indirectly into the Ukrainian election issues. First of all, Ukraine's constitution doesn't allow for any elections to take place. And him being as a president, and as far as we know, the last polls indicated that he has 57% support of the Ukrainian population. That's much more than even Trump himself has. And so this is a Russian narrative that has been put across. And indirectly also, we're seeing firsthand that there's no American peace plan in place. It's Putin's plan.
Now, you have upcoming talks coming up with the Ukrainian-Canadian Congress. What do you want what can audiences expect?
Well, we have on Sunday we're commemorating actually the third year of the Russian invasion in Ukraine at the Canadian Museum for Human Rights, and we hope people will join us there. And in the meantime, basically, at least, if we're not talking about military aid that is ongoing, at least continue the humanitarian aid that Ukraine needs. And Ukraine needs a lot of rebuilding of their infrastructure, so maybe a lot of help in those particular areas. The other thing that should be mentioned also is that Russia needs to be held accountable on the world stage for the genocide that it's committing, and needs to pay reparations. We're talking about the 300 billion frozen assets that need to be released. And we need seriously to bring, not Trump, but basically Putin in front of the International Criminal Court in Hague. We need to see justice take place.
Orest, thank you for your time today. We appreciate it.